researching how to be the best without illegal methods. So from now on, he will be applying the outcomes of his research to Kim's training. If he can keep up with this, he will become strong enough to make anyone kneel before his might. 1 week later, Kim sits in class when suddenly a boy approaches him, Si-woo, who tells him that he didn't do anything wrong and that he doesn't want to be on the same side as those who are ignoring him. Kim asks what he is talking about, and Si-woo explains that Jin-woo said that he will kill anyone who tries to get close to him. Kim asks why he came then, and Si-woo says that they have been close since elementary school, so even if he is beaten to death, he can't ignore a friend who is being bullied. Kim notes that Si-woo tried to save him before, but he got bullied in the process, so he pretended not to know him at all. And one day, while he was comatose, Si-woo came to apologize for being so weak. He couldn't protect his friend, and if there was another life, he wouldn't leave Kim alone. He grabs Si-woo's hand and says that he shouldn't act like they are close. He needs to do what the others are doing because what he is going through is none of his business. Si-woo leaves, reminding Kim that he will do what he wants to do and that he won't leave him alone. Kim notes that in the process of fulfilling the golden circle, he doesn't know what kind of pain and suffering will befall him. Si-woo can't get involved in this. All the relationships except his family should be cut off. He shouldn't involve others in the fight. While getting ready to leave, Kim heard that Jin-woo got a hold of Si-woo and is beating him as they speak. Kim rushes out of the classroom, hoping to save his one true friend. We see that in a room, Jin-woo is confronting Si-woo, asking why he talked with Kim. Did he not hear his warning before, or is he just that stupid? Si-woo approaches slowly, saying that he speaks to whoever he wishes to, and Kim is his friend. So they should stop playing around and get serious. Jin-woo tries to say something, but he doesn't get to, as Si-woo kicks him in the face, causing Jin-woo to fall on his ass. He gets furious and orders his goons to attack. They surround him, and the fight begins. While fighting, Si-woo thinks about Kim. He tried to warn him about this, but he still got caught in it. But he couldn't just pretend not to see what was happening. Kim might be a little extreme, but he is still the same as he was back then. A true friend. So he won't give up on him, no matter what he has to go through. Si-woo is skilled, but with so many people attacking him, he is weakening. Suddenly, Jin-woo comes from behind and uppercuts him, incapacitating Si-woo. He throws him into the wall, saying that he is nothing, even with his useless martial arts. Jin-woo continues to slap him, saying that he should have heeded the warning. Now, he will make his life a living hell, so he better be prepared. Suddenly, the door gets kicked open, by none other than Kim, who approaches with confidence. Kim thinks about Jin-woo. He had to defeat him anyway, but he is in a whole nother weight level, so in order to win, he needs to annoy him a bit. Kim begins insulting him, throwing snarky remarks about his weight, and says that he only won against Si-woo because it wasn't a fair 1v1. Jin-woo has had enough and orders his goons to stand back, as he will take care of Kim alone. He charges in, but gets stopped by Kim, who throws a jab in his face, also insulting him further. This makes Jin-woo's attacks even larger, giving Kim the opportunity to wail on him with his newfound abilities. And with one final punch, he knocks him to the ground. But it doesn't end there, as Kim needs to engrave fear into Jin-woo, so he continues hitting him, blood splattering on the ground while he does so. Jin-woo is on his last legs and begs Kim to let him go. He grabs him by the shirt, saying that he was the one who beat him, right? So there shouldn't be a problem if he says it again. So he should, in front of everyone. Jin-woo apologizes, saying that he was forced by Shin to do it, so he couldn't possibly refuse. And about his victory, those were just baseless rumors, so he begs Kim to let him go, promising to not do anything like this ever again. Kim lets go, issuing a final warning to not put a hand on Si-woo ever again, and if he catches him doing something like this, he will follow him anywhere and end his miserable life. In the infirmary, Kim notes that Si-woo should have done the same thing as the other people, and if he doesn't want to experience something like this again, he shouldn't get involved further. Si-woo stops him, saying that before he lost consciousness, he saw Kim coming. In a way, they are alike, as Kim came to his rescue just like he would have. How can he ever ignore such a friend? He doesn't know what his business is, but the facts are the same. They are friends, and even if he has to go through something like this again, that won't change. Kim notes that it wasn't a coincidence that he fought Park's group. and he was the one who started the fight in the first place, because they deserved it. And this is just the beginning, as he plans to tear anybody involved into pieces, even if he has to sell his soul to do so. Siwoo tries to say something, but Kim interrupts him, saying that he went through something terrible that he can't speak about, and he is looking for revenge only. So if Siwoo will stay near him, more things like that will happen, with much worse opponents. Kim says that he thinks of Siwoo as a friend, but that's all. He is not the same friendly Kim from the past. So from now on, he shouldn't get involved, as he will never be able to handle what is coming. Siwoo clenches his teeth in frustration, and Kim looks down with a dim expression outside of the infirmary, thanking him for everything. In his class, Shin admires the amount of cash he is making from the Golden Circle jobs. To think, so much cash only for bullying some kids? He has to ask for more commissions in the future, and if he makes some connections, he might be able to live as a Golden Circle broker even after graduation. His thinking gets cut short as Kim opens the door, asking him if he is the one named Shin. He confirms this, and Kim wastes no time in attacking, going for a kick which Shin barely manages to block. He tries to ask Kim what this is about, but he doesn't let him, and continues the onslaught of attacks. Shin notes that Kim must have likely learned to fight from somewhere, but he isn't powerful, and his patterns are predictable. But it doesn't appear to be so, as Kim suddenly swerves and lands a wrenching gut punch, and he also reveals his identity. He is the one he was looking for all this time. Shin tries to speak once again, but Kim does not care for words, so he grabs a chair and bashes him in the head with it. This surprises Shin, who thinks that he must give it his all in this fight. Kim throws the chair and goes for a punch, but Shin catches it, allowing him to go on the offensive. Kim tries to block, but Shin knows a few tricks too and fakes the attack. Kim notes that compared to Chul, he is nothing. He also knew that he couldn't beat Shin in the first place. This was a fight just to prove himself. He never planned on winning unhurt, so he has to risk it all on this one chance. Kim suddenly grabs Shin's leg and grabs him whole, throwing him into the nearby window. He holds him over the window, and Shin demands to know what Kim wants. He says that he wants to end this with one of them dying. Suddenly, the other people in class grab Kim, who notes that he will hunt down Shin and that this will never end until he dies. Kim gets dragged away by the other students, and one of them asks Shin if he is okay, as his back is full of glass shards. 30 minutes later, a message can be heard over the speakers. The students whose names will be called have to present themselves to the principal's office. Chul arrives at the scene, and seeing the amount of blood left behind by Shin, he wonders what he can say to the principal to save Kim. But much to his surprise, the principal orders him to ignore it. He heard that in the Myungjin Construction Company success race, the eldest son, Chang, has suddenly risen in popularity. When Chang decided to sponsor the school, he said that he would sponsor a significant part of the operating expenses, and if he became chairman, he promised to greatly increase the amount. The principal notes that sponsorships are different, as people do them only when the recipient has something they want. So why would Chang sponsor a school like theirs? For goodwill? Or perhaps reputation? None. The answer is the request that Chang made. As long as Kim is this school's student, no matter what he does, they must cover it up. So they should let this pass, and Chul should take care of it, as he is adept in this business already. And of course, the performance and other special benefits will be given to him as a priority. He also notes that Chang saved a couple of spots in the upcoming housing project Myungjin Construction is doing. Doesn't he want an apartment separate from his wife so he can better hide what he's been doing? From now on, all they have to do is take care of Kim. Chul is enthusiastic and says he will do his best from now on. The principal notes his reliability and says that Chul should address him as Big Brother, since they are in the same boat. Chul grabs his hand and says that he will help him make this school the most prestigious in all of Korea, so the principal will surely become the legend of Daesun in the future. The principal notes that if Kim graduates without any problems, the school will have Myungjin Construction on its back, so they both have to work hard. Suddenly, someone comes into the room saying that Kim was hit, shocking both of them. They begin interrogating Shin, who tells them that he is innocent. Kim was the one that started the fighting. The principal bashes him for assaulting a student who is 2 years younger, and Chul continues, saying that they have been keeping an eye on him, as he has been beating others every time he gets the chance. Shin, having had enough of this, screams that he almost fell off the building and died, and that there are also witnesses. Chul crouches to his level and says that there are always witnesses. The problem is believing them. so they should go outside, grab someone, and ask them, an ordinary student or a criminal like him, who would be at fault. Shin curses in anger, causing Chul to grab him by the clothes, saying that he should talk properly from now on, and that if he doesn't admit to this crime, he will be seriously punished. Shin looks at both of them. The adults in front of him were as rotten as himself, and he finally realized that messing with Kim was a bad idea, so he apologizes. While walking away, Shin notes that he is about to graduate, so he can't let such a thing drag him down. So, even if it costs him some money, he has no other choice and must ask for help from outside. In a car, someone notes that the situation is pretty bad, though it's common for them to use one's background. How did Myungjin Construction get involved in all this? All the students who were trying to harass the target were expelled, and even the teacher is protecting him. As the broker, he has no choice but to take care of the mission himself, as the Golden Circle doesn't forgive even one single mistake. He drives away with the Golden Circle regional broker, Kang Taegu. He goes to speak with the principal, saying that Shin was punished unjustly. The principal says that they did no such thing. Taegu thinks that he will break easily, and he talks about the incident where 4 people were sent to the hospital, but the attacker was punished lightly, so perhaps they are giving special treatment to Kim? If that is the case, he won't let this go easily. The principal laughs, saying that, when in Daesan, do as the people of Daesan do. They didn't drag this into a criminal case because they thought about the future of their students. They have also already talked with the police about this, so he can do whatever he wishes. Taegu warns him once again, saying that he will do it. The principal says that he doesn't know what he wants to do, but he is sure about one thing. In this place, such a threat won't work. Taegu goes to the police, but no dice, as the policeman there says that the case was an act of self-defense, so even they could see what really happened. Should they really go that far and ruin a student's life? And if they were to punish Kim, they would also have to take Shin into custody. Taegu gets mad, smashing the table, and says that if they don't take this seriously, he will publish about what happened on the internet. The policemen sigh, saying that this is Daesan, so whether he publishes it or not, it doesn't matter. Will this calm down if he just goes on vacation? Taegu is shocked and wonders what happened to this village. He calls someone, who tells him that the chief of police is really close with the principal. But still, everyone knows each other in a village like this, so they're all probably keeping quiet. Taegu finally gets it. The reason the principal was so confident was because he trusted the local cartel. The issue regarding local cartels is that there would be a way to intervene if it simply involved personal interest. But local sentiment, a kind of territorial psychology, excludes outsiders from interfering in local affairs. Taegu thinks that this is probably why nobody takes these rural jobs and remains in Seoul. He cannot fail this job, as the Golden Circle has never failed a single request so far, so it's no stretch to say that they all owe their current reputation to them. But even if he does fail, another broker will be sent to complete the request, and if that were to ever happen, his life will surely be ruined in an instant. The Golden Circle never spares. In times like these, Taegu needs to calm down and think about how to find a way out. He calls Shin and says that he can't help him in this situation, as he is the mercenary, and messing with the Golden Circle is no joke. Taegu tells him that instead of fighting Kim, he should somehow bring down his grades by any means. He also warns Shin, saying that if he were to fail, they wouldn't just punish Kim but him as well. This is the kind of organization the Golden Circle is. Shin closes the call and wonders how that can be done, but he suddenly gets bashed in the head by Kim, who has been behind him all this time. The next day, Shin hears what his classmates are saying about him and Kim having a fight yesterday, which he apparently lost with no injury to Kim. We see what really happened. Shin tried to attack, but Kim warned him by saying that the request must be more important than his life, causing him to stop. Kim notes that he already knows the broker came to see the principal, so the situation is pretty clear. But Shin better think this through, as Kim's guardian is the eldest son of Myungjin Construction, so he never planned for this to be a problem. Kim adds that if Shin messes with him, it won't end with just his expulsion from the school. He will drag him to the criminal court and get him convicted for his actions, no matter what. And after he gets out of jail, the people from Myungjin Construction will be waiting for him, and they will do anything in their capacity to make sure he can never do anything in Daesan ever again. To live like a normal person, he would have to leave his hometown, but even that might not stop Kim. Shin is extremely scared and asks what he wants. Perhaps justice? Kim says that he only wants one thing, to destroy the people who mess with him. He grabs Shin by the shirt and says that if he wishes to live like a human here in Daesan, he must endure what his victims endured. He begins to wail on him, and that's how Shin got his injuries. He thinks that he can beat Kim with ease, but the problem is Chang and his group. But if he were to leave Kim, the Golden Circle would come after him. And if the rumors are right, he would have wished for expulsion or conviction instead of messing with them. He slams his head against the table, thinking that he doesn't have a choice. The only thing he can do is wait and hope that Kim's grades somehow drop. Kim thinks that this threat is only temporary, but after the exams are over, things will be completely different. The moment he scores an overwhelming grade in the exams, everyone's emotions will explode. Shin, who is just trying to survive in the Golden Circle, must succeed at any cost. And the requester who won't be able to see Kim fall. The moment that happens, he will have achieved his goal. He shakes a bit, thinking that if he can get what he wants, nothing else matters. Whether he uses the principle or acts evil and cowardly, it doesn't matter. Looking at the situation now, everything is exactly as he planned. Now nobody can touch him for the rest of his school life. This is a barrier built purely with malevolence that gives Kim a sense of relief. Later, he goes to the gym to train, and it seems that Kim has some hidden talent. Even his coach commends him for it. If it wasn't about the money, he would have suggested he try his luck at being a pro. Kim clothes himself and gets ready to leave, but that's when Siwoo comes inside the gym, saying that he has a consultation scheduled today. A few days ago, when Siwoo was rescued by Kim, he noted how much he had changed. It was almost as if he was a completely different person from what he once was. He sheds a tear, thinking about what Kim said to him earlier. What can he do now? Suddenly, a student barges into the infirmary, saying that Kim is in a fight with Shin. This makes Siwoo think that he is still the same friend who always had his back. Now, he wants to instill in people that there is a problem when they mess with Kim. He gets up and looks out the window, saying that if Kim is going that far for him, how can he give up on such a friend? Back to the present, Kim asks what this is about, demanding that he not take Siwoo in. He will even pay what he has to. But the coach shuts him off, thinking that having a friend with him will make Kim less likely to get into trouble. He grabs Siwoo's shoulder and leads him into another room, saying that it's his decision whether he makes him a student or not, and Kim can leave as his training is over for today. The coach asks him directly if he knows what Kim is training for, and Siwoo confirms this. He says that this gym doesn't encourage youngsters to fight, so he can't accept him. He would have liked to kick out Kim too, but due to some circumstances, he can't. Siwoo says that he understands what the purpose of a gym is, but demands that he look at his wounds. He got them while he was trying to protect Kim. The severity of bullying in schools is way worse than adults can imagine. If Kim had not saved him at that time, he would have most likely been crippled already, so he cannot ignore a friend like him. He asks the coach not to force him to join another gym, as he believes Kim chose this gym with a purpose. He hands him some money, saying that if it's not enough, he can begin to work part-time. The coach slams his fist into the table, asking why this is so desperate at such a young age. Siwoo notes that even if he doesn't accept him in the gym, he plans on sticking by Kim's side. The coach thinks about this. In a situation where even his best friend is being bullied, can he really tell these kids who are living in hell that using violence is wrong? He sighs, saying that he can come to the gym tomorrow, but warns that if he can't handle the training, it's over. Siwoo tries to leave but gets stopped by Kim, who says that the coach might have taken him in, but he doesn't accept him just yet, so he has to prove himself. Prove that he can crawl back from the bottom of hell. They go into the ring, and Kim says that Siwoo already knows what he is planning to do. Those things won't help their future lives, so what will he achieve with his involvement? Friendship. He might end up dead because of the day-after-day fighting, or perhaps end up in prison for the rest of his days. Can he really handle it? Siwoo notes that this is why he wants to help him, because 2 is better than 1. With that, the fight begins and Kim closes the gap, but Siwoo attacks with a kick, saying he shouldn't forget that he is an athlete. They exchange a few blows, and Siwoo adds that if it were a 1v1, he would have beaten Park. Kim thinks that Siwoo is really a good athlete. When he was active in the taekwondo scene, he was called Mr. Specialist, and swept away all the gold medals he could win. However, during a tournament, he fought against the son of the Korean Taekwondo Association leader and lost due to an unfair decision by the referee. After that, he gave up on the sport, but his determination never left him. Kim puts him on the ground, asking if he knows about the technique called kick catch that is used in the MMA. He hits Si-woo, saying that he should surrender. But this only makes Si-woo think about the many times Kim protected him, and with newfound determination, he tries to hit Kim but misses, and he continues his onslaught of bunches, asking Si-woo to beg him to stop. Si-woo laughs, causing Kim to stop. He asks why he is doing this. Hasn't he done enough for their friendship? Si-woo says that he can't forget those memories, where he didn't do anything but was still beaten. But then Kim showed up and always helped him. So why is he doing this? Because he knows Kim didn't do anything wrong. He can't ignore his situation. After all, it's his life, so he can do whatever he wants, right? It's his decision. The coach suddenly barges into the ring. He says that they should stop fighting and instead come work out with him. He will bet his life that they can get to the top of the UFL stage. The coach notes that both of them are talented, so how are they getting bullied? They can sure take down a few guys at least. Si-woo has his kicks, which at his age are extremely accurate and powerful, and Kim's mentality, which holds a good sense of judgment and the ability to detect gaps in the opponent's defense. The coach offers them this, as their abilities are exceptional, and it would be a waste not to use them. They should drop out, forget about school, and focus on sports. Even though he is operating a rundown gym, he still has connections with many athletes, so he can truly bring them to the top. Kim asks him why he did MMA, and he says that he did it because it suited his interests. Kim notes that this is precisely why he can't. He is not interested in fighting. It hurts so much that he wants to give up every single moment. But since he has a purpose, he has to achieve it, no matter what it takes. Kim says that Si-woo should think about it, but if he accepts, they will call the deal off and continue their own way. He goes outside, and Si-woo follows him, saying that he won't regret doing this with him. Kim says that he won't stop him anymore, but he has a few conditions. First, he's going to train with him every single day. Second, he must be involved in matters he can handle, so if it's a hopeless fight or a legal matter, he must leave immediately. And third, from now on, Myungjin Construction will give him a living wage every month. And finally, he should study. When the time comes to escape this hellish reality, he hopes he can have a much better life than he ever did. Kim thinks that this is for the better, as he can use this situation to change Si-woo's future as well. He arrives home, where his brother is watching his favorite team play. Kim says that he is going to cook for them, so he should keep watching that. He thinks that in his previous life, this team that his little brother is rooting for made it all the way to the championship game. He didn't say it at the time, but he must have wanted to watch the game directly. He loved games, but never once asked for a computer. He was just a sweet little brother who never let on that he could spend much time outside having fun. His grandmother, his little brother, and Si-woo, at the very least, so that people precious to him won't have to suffer. He will get better and live differently than before. He is going to tear down anything that gets in his way. Suddenly, he gets a message from the coach, saying that he crossed the line in asking him to become a pro, but still, he should do it, if he ever changes his mind. A few weeks later, the midterms begin. The top 10 who have yet to be acknowledged deserve a place of evaluation where they can prove their existence. The papers get passed around, and Kim thinks that if he can't get good grades, his plan will be over. He could have also easily gathered evidence and exposed the golden circle, but Kim was determined enough to completely destroy it. So in order to drag out the real golden circle, he must become an immovable obstacle in their path. He must continue like this, so he can crush their disgusting pride, and they can succeed every time. This moment is the true beginning of revenge. After a while, he sheds tears, saying that he prepared so hard for this exam and put in so much effort. But he remembers everything. He remembers all the correct answers. Kim only found out then that the person called Kim was still stuck in his school days. Even while he was bullied, he studied diligently, regretting those days while living in a vegetative state. The memories of his past life were still in his mind, like they were branded into his brain. And rightly so, he should never forget about them. The desire for revenge has shaped him into who he is today. After all the exams are finished, a girl comes up to him, Hyeji, who asks why he isn't grading his own paper. He says that he doesn't want to, and he thinks about her. She was quite popular because of her beauty, but she confessed to him when she was in her first year. He rejected her at the time because he didn't think he could handle dating and studying at the same time. She says that she will do it for him, and she begins. And slowly she remarks that he did, in fact, get 100 in all of the subjects. The next day, he calls Chul to the rooftop, where they call him the top-ranked student in the entire school. Kim asks if he knows about the Golden Circle, and if not, he will tell him. A while before this, we see that the principal is getting constant calls about academies, even getting accused of favoritism. How could a student who was a nobody before get 100 in everything? The principal shuts down any notion of cheating or such, and says that the school just has an excellent education program. He closes the call, and Chul asks him if it was another call about academies. The principal confirms this, also wondering why they are so insistent this time. Chul notes that it must be because the exam was extremely hard this time. The principal says there is no reason to make a fuss over such a thing. Shouldn't they be excited about their high-achieving student? He can already see it. Kim receiving the highest CSAT score in the country and entering Hankook University at the top of his class. Something like this would give the school the opportunity to become a nationally recognized school. And with Myungjin Construction's support, his long-awaited dream will come true. The only problem is that Kim is causing problems, and it would be bad for the only first-ranked student in the school to be a problem child. The principal demands more from Chu. He should take care of Kim even more. And since he's produced the first-ranked student in the school, he will start paying him merit next month. He hands him some money, saying that it's just a small reward. The principal notes that he should enjoy it because they will undeniably achieve much more with Kim's scores. Chul agrees, thinking that he was right to side with Kim. We cut back to the present, where Kim explains to him exactly what the Golden Circle is. Afterwards, Chul asks what he wants him to do, perhaps stop Shin. Kim notes that he wants what he always wanted, for them to feign ignorance at these actions and stand by. That's plenty already, so he should also prepare mentally in advance. Somewhere else, Shin is being beaten by the broker, who has given him one more chance at solving this. If not, the price will be at least a limb. Shin sits down with some friends, wondering what he can do about the situation. A buffer dude perks up, Bae Xiangho, and he says that they should all mess with Kim at once. What is the principal going to do if 30 people or more are involved in a fight? Shin notes that this is a great idea, and hopefully it will lead to salvation. A few days later, during lunch, Kim felt a strange vibe. Someone bumps into him, and another comes from behind and slaps his head, demanding he apologize for bumping into his friend. Kim thinks that it started with the bullying, but this time he is not weak, and with a few punches, he takes all of them out. He keeps being conscious, saying that he should tell their leader that he should stop thinking about stupid stuff and bring it all at once. A while later, Shang-ho opens the door to Kim's classroom, thinking that he planned to just provoke Kim and bring the guys against him later. Kim gets up, saying that if they have to fight, they should go to the recycling site where the teachers don't walk in. They go there, and Kim thinks about his plan until now. All the scenarios up until now weren't guarantees, like he imagined. This revenge will be determined by fighting Shin. If he can't handle it, he will have to pay the price. Seong-ho tries to intimidate Kim, but he doesn't bite, instead saying that they should get to the point and fight. But they also have spectators, so they should come to him one by one. One of the goons who goes by the nickname Demon Senior gets in front, saying that if it's a one-on-one fight he wants, that's what he's going to get. Inside a school where students gather to learn, the necessity of power is extremely important. Kim has defeated the strong with his radical moves, but his ruthless pursuit of victory has damaged his reputation. He was known for either using malicious weapons like chairs or launching surprise attacks on unaware enemies, an existence who only has presumably only won through luck. That's why he needed to change this perspective in order to continue his plan. The strategy will only work out if he lays a solid and firm foundation at Cheonil High. In order to make this school his own personal world, his impenetrable fortress, he will require a victory that cannot be denied. Chang-hyun charges him with a punch and lands it perfectly. He smirks and presumes that all of this is over, but when he looks at Kim, he notices that he was guarding. Changhyun goes for another attack but misses entirely, and Kim uses this opportunity to swerve and swing so hard that the guy gets knocked out in one hit. Jinwoo looks at the fight from above and notes that his defeat was no mere fluke, as Kim just defeated the Demon Senior in just one blow. He should never get involved with this guy again, as he fights like a rabid dog. Siwoo casually approaches from behind and taps his shoulder. Then he punches him right in the cheek, noting that they have some old business to resolve. A while ago, after Kim resolved the matter with the guys who were trying to annoy him, Siwoo came up to him and wanted to help him with his plan. Kim says that he promised he wouldn't get involved in reckless fights, making Siwoo ask if he's trying to face Shin's gang by himself. Kim confirms this and says that he knows he's worried, but nothing good will come out of him joining the fight, as those guys will just use their numbers to win. Siwoo says that this is not safe, but Kim knows that he must, as this issue won't get solved by someone else. But there is something for him to do, if he really wants to help. Prove to him that he's not alone by taking revenge on Jinwoo. He curses at Siwoo, noting that he must be acting tough because of Kim. But they should set this straight, so they will have to make him transfer now. He tries to attack, but Siwoo just kicks him back. Jinwoo thinks that he might lose in a single blow, but he can't, as too many people are watching already. He continuously tries to swing at Siwoo and finds an opportunity to tackle. But Siwoo counters him and ends the fight with a single kick. Outside, Kim takes care of all of Seungho's goons, who think that he is quite clever. This was all intentional from the start, as he would have liked to push him to the ground with their number. But with how many people are watching, even after Shin graduates and joins the circle, nobody will acknowledge him. The same will hold true if he just waits for him to run out of stamina and beat him. He needs to act now. He asks Kim to stop, as he will face him now. He says that he holds no ill intent towards him, but him acting like he's going to solo everyone is just ridiculous. Kim notes that he's acting this way because they're ridiculous. Seungho goes in for a punch and Kim retaliates, but he smirks, as this is exactly what he wanted. A fight of pure strength. They continue to exchange blows until Kim hits him in the mouth, causing Seungho to be stunned by the pain. Kim grabs his hair and with a final punch to the ground, ends the fight. He orders the other goons to bring Shin out now. Shin sits in the classroom and thinks about Kim's situation. A classmate comes in and tells him that Seungho and his guys were utterly destroyed. Shin asks how many guys he defeated, and the classmate notes that it was about 9 people. Shin thinks that this is enough, so they should proceed with the plan, as no matter how trashy the principal and Kim are, this is a school first and foremost. They will not be able to cover up this case. His plans start, and numerous people tell the teachers or call people to tell them what Kim did. Shin notes that if they match their stories, this won't be easily passed as self-defense, but it doesn't matter if they do, as he wasn't planning on ending it with just this. The principal gets called by the superintendent, and he picks up. A few days ago, during the teacher meeting, Chul told the other teacher about the Golden Circle and the organization thriving on the bullying of others, and Park has also had ties with them in the past. A teacher asks if this is true, and this gets all of the other teachers talking. Chul notes that they must be confused, but they should know that with the prospect of the Golden Circle, their careers could end in an instant. But one thing is true. They are all in the same boat. More than a handful of students, including Seungho and even Shin, are associated with the Golden Circle. Just within the school, there are more than a dozen students associated with the Golden Circle. If this problem were to get exposed, what would happen to them? He slams the table and rises up. He exclaims that it wouldn't end with just a few people. The entire school could be wound up. Chul explains that the reason he called everyone here was because he's asking all of them to not sympathize with these bullies, no matter what happens. Just live as if nothing was going on. They do not see or know anything, and acting like a righteous teacher will only get them involved with the Golden Circle. A teacher tries to retort this, but Chul shuts him up by asking if he wants to stand up against an organization as big as the Golden Circle. What if they target him, or make him participate without his consent? He might even take the blame for everything, so his command is this: do not sympathize with or despise the circle. Nothing is going on at this school. It seems that Shin's plan has failed, as the teachers push the students away, and the police urge the kids not to make prank calls anymore. Shin stomps through the school, thinking that they are just acting like they don't know anything, and the police aren't helping either. Aren't adults supposed to have responsibility and take charge? He sees how it is but doesn't care. He will rip Kim in two with his own two hands. He gets a surprising call, and we see that earlier, Chang went to a loan shark and said that he had gotten his hands on a few minor construction jobs and was wondering if he should raise his name value. The loan shark jumps at the opportunity, thinking that this is the perfect chance for him to be associated with Myungjin Construction. He asks what he needs, and Chang sits down. It's quite simple. All he wants is the contract he has with Shin Min-suk, which will put them in a good place. It seems that Shin's call was from his father, who bashes him for even touching a finger of Kim's. He demands he never touch that guy again, unless he wants to see his own father killed by loan sharks. Suddenly, Chang picks up the phone and says that he should listen carefully. In the future, there's going to be a red sticker at his house. The thing his father desperately wanted to block. But what a surprise. His family is still in debt, so that debt will pass on to him. Was he just planning to forsake his inheritance? But unfortunately for him, loan sharks do not work like that. In other words, his entire life is gone. There are a few ways to survive, like letting himself get beat up like a dog by Kim. The only important thing is that he fakes it well enough so others don't notice. Shin asks if this isn't cowardice, but Chang says that something like that doesn't exist in a fight. If you win, you are king. But he should also be careful, as he has rarely said empty words. Shin arrives at Kim's location, and he immediately charges with a desperate attack. But Kim is not dodging, and Shin misses the attack on purpose. Kim thinks that he must have gotten the call, and he slaps him. He grabs him by the hair and slaps him constantly, asking why he was charging towards him earlier. Fortunately for him, he only needs to make one choice: get on his knees and beg, or bet his life on worthless pride. Shin has reached a breaking point, and he begins wailing on Kim with punches and kicks. He tries to bring him down, but Kim has an advantage. Shin has participated in a few amateur fighting competitions, and thanks to that, his fights were easily accessible to watch. So Kim has observed that Shin has a few flaws in his movements. The first mistake was exposing his face when he was excited. With all his knowledge, this fight turns into a beating, and Kim comes out on top every time. While down, Kim grabs Shin's arm and prepares to break it. He pleads for him not to, but with a large crack, his perfect win has been achieved. He has now proven himself. The principal talks with the superintendent and notes that he should feel free to be excited. Kim meets with Si-woo, and they confirm that they are both done with what they needed to do. But Si-woo asks if breaking Shin's arm was too harsh. Kim says that he has nothing to worry about, as it's not even a problem. But he has also realized something while fighting trash like Park. The world does not side with the weak. Cho looks at the absolute massacre Kim left behind and wonders how he's going to clean something like this up. But he cannot back down now. He either allows Kim to graduate and live happily ever after, or they crash down together. He tells Shin to listen carefully to his words. He did not break his arm while fighting Kim. Instead, he just fell down some stairs while playing with his friends. Not just him, but if just one of you brings up Kim's name in the hospital, he will uncover everything they have done up until now. Shin asks how he can call himself a teacher when he should prioritize the safety of the student in this situation. Chul comes closer and says that he used the same tactics to cover things in the past. But where was the lecture about being a teacher when he was the one in favor? He is still the same guy, and he doesn't know about the others, but he does the things he says. In an undisclosed location, Taegu wakes up when someone throws water on him, and he desperately begins begging for another chance. He will even stab Kim if need be. A guy asks if he knows the basics of this field. Their job is to satisfy customers by making school violence seem natural. Is he going to take responsibility if he crosses the line and lets the confidentiality of their customers be compromised? Why does he think they have been able to maintain this? Keeping secrets and maintaining a perfect success rate. That is what the Golden Circle does. He kicks Taegu into unconsciousness and notes that Kim is not an easy target. But in the end, he is just a cornered dog. We know this man's identity. The Golden Circle of Seoul region brokers Young Chansu. 1 week later, Shin gets discharged from the hospital, and Kim messages him, asking him to tell him who his employer is. Otherwise, he won't stop here. Shin gets into the bus and laments Tang for sending him a message containing just work done. Both Kim and Tang are a pain to deal with, so he will sleep on this and think about what to do. He opens the door to his house and finds that it has been sacked. His father immediately tries to hit him, but he falls to his knees in tears. He says that he shouldn't have laid a hand on Kim, as things would have been all right. He ruined it. Even if he had to live like a dog, he didn't have to cross that line. The house he lives in, and the food he sees in the fridge, does he think they are free? Even if he wasn't a good enough father for this family, he tried his utmost, but he just went and ruined it. They are completely and utterly ruined because of him. Shin's actions finally come back to bite him, and he slips on a bottle from the shock. That's when someone calls him. They meet in a park, and Shin apologizes profusely, saying that he crossed a line, and that he would like to tell him who his employer is, but he just can't. The broker also disappeared after a simple text, so he begs for forgiveness just this once. Kim asks why he should forgive him, as he has warned him enough not to lay a hand on him or the people around him. But he still went and did all of those things. He must have been confident he could handle the consequences, right? Shin notes that he was just stupid, and Kim says that he is, as only stupid people throw themselves in the middle of fire. He believes that he doesn't know who his employer is because the Golden Circle doesn't just give out information like that. And since he has begged enough, he will give him a chance. He will have to endure it for 1 month. But what he will have to endure, he will find out soon. The next day, he hears some people bash his name but endures it, thinking that if this is all he needs to do for 1 month, it will be easy. A fat guy stares at him with malicious intent, and Shin notes that the world is better for a guy like him now. But this is only for 1 month, and then he will be able to graduate and live a new life. The fat guy comes up to him and pours a carton of milk on his head. Shin tries to retaliate, but the fat guy says that, according to Kim, he can do things like this to him now. A few days ago, Kim spoke to his fellow classmates about Shin and how he destroyed their once peaceful school lives. So from now on, they can do whatever they want to him, as he won't fight back. But he won't force them to, and it's their choice to participate or ignore him. But if nobody does participate, he will lead a peaceful life until he graduates, as if he had never existed in this school. So if they hate Shin and his dirty deeds, nobody will punish him for them. For the past 3 years, Han's story has been quite boring. He was harassed just because he made eye contact with Shin once. He lived the life of a toy, and nobody cared if it was broken. But while Han waited for graduation, he asked himself this: will Shin even remember him, and will he ever realize what he was doing was wrong? But of course he won't. He will just forget and never learn. That's why he has to do something so that his wounded heart will be soothed. He hits Shin over the head and pits in his food, noting that this is what he did to him before, so he will say what he did that time. Enjoy your meal, bastard. But what Han did was just the beginning, as people kept harassing him with every chance they got, until the point where he wonders if he can just give up and murder all of them. But he thinks of Kim's glare, and notes that he has to endure it just for 1 month. Kim sits in the classroom and thinks that he would have gotten some information about the Golden Circle. But since Shin doesn't know a thing, he is back on square one. But he has some clues. The employer has a similar grade as him, and is rich enough to hire the circle. If he just keeps narrowing it down, he can get some suspects, but he can't quite figure out who they are. He shouldn't rush this anyway, as he has to focus on his current target until then. Shin is getting beaten up, and even when he asks for help, people just ignore him. After the beating, Kim messages him and notes that he has a new game, and if he takes it, he will have a peaceful school life and the harassment will stop. Shin immediately accepts, much to Kim's pleasure. At night, he goes in front of a convenience store and wonders if he's doing the right thing. But at this point, he doesn't care anymore. He enters the store where Park is working and beats him to a pulp. It seems that this was all planned, as Park and his other friends were also beaten. They wonder if they should report him, but that won't work now. They should just feel lucky and forget about this, as if it never happened. Shin finds them and is glad to see them together. They ask why he did what he did, and he says that this isn't out of spite or something, but Kim knows his weakness. But if, for 1 month, he shows them what it's like to live in hell, he will forgive him. So it seems that they will have to go through hell together. Shin begins beating the snot out of them, saying that all of this would have never happened if they just sat still. Kong charges in with a tackle and asks what they did so wrong in the first place. Shin is now extremely furious, and Kong is very horrified that his tackle did nothing. Shin notes that what they did wrong is quite simple. They just didn't do their jobs correctly, and all of their lives were basically ruined. How dare he still allow himself to bark in his direction? Has he truly forgotten who he is? With one final knee attack, he knocks Kang out cold, and he stands above him with a smile on his face. This might prove to be simpler than expected, but that's when he feels a sharp pain on his left side. Park, who is now extremely desperate, has stabbed him, noting that he should have never crossed this line. He's the reason they are all doomed anyway, so why is he attacking them now? Shin falls to his knees, but now he has realized what Kim was doing all of this time. His real objective with this was mutual and total destruction. All of them are doomed anyway. He just chose who would be even more doomed. The next day, rumors about what happened started circulating, with the main suspect for the stabbing of Shin being Park. It appears that they all got juvenile detention. But something is strange, as they all immediately pleaded guilty and asked to be sent to juvenile detention as soon as possible. They wanted to get out of Daesan as soon as possible. Kim speaks with someone over the phone, who notes that it was exactly as he planned. Young's family figured out there wasn't any hope left here, so they sold all of their properties and left. They left Daesan without a trace and moved to Gyeonggi-do, with Young now preparing to enter a public school. Kim says that he doesn't find it surprising that the child of a rich family wasn't also sent to juvie, and Chang notes that if he wishes, he can pull some strings and also have him sent there. Kim wants him to leave him be for now, as he wants him to forget about who he is. Until he believes his new, fresh life is starting in a new city, his despair will be much greater. Chang notes that sometimes he's quite scary, and Kim continues. The other 4 will be sent to prison immediately after they get out of juvie, as he doesn't want them back in society for even 1 second. Chang says that he never wants to become his enemy, and also asks how long he's going to be stuck here doing meager jobs. He started working in the lowest position for a month, like he said, but so far nothing has really happened. He's not really the patient type to start from the bottom and slowly rise up. He tries to say something else, but Kim urges him to remember what he said, that soon it will begin. A few days later, real estate rose in price extremely fast nationwide. On that day, some construction workers were working, but it seems that they were just slacking, as the metal beams they previously tied together fell exactly on one of the workers. The other workers wonder what to do, thinking that they should call 911, but the foreman demands everyone drop their phones this second, as they will report this to their superiors first and foremost. The workers say he should call an ambulance first, but he's having none of it, as they will lose money if the construction is put on hold because of this. The worker that got hurt got to the hospital after 2 entire hours, but wasn't sent to the hospital that was 10 minutes away, but rather to a hospital that was an hour away, which was related to the company. After a late contact, his son had to come to the hospital, where the company cold-heartedly told him that his father caused a great deal of damage due to his carelessness. But fortunately for him, they won't ask for compensation and will leave it as is. The accident wasn't paid for in the slightest, so the only thing he could do was cry by his father's side. That was a day Jong-hyuk, a young man in his 20s, could never forget. Chang walks around the construction site and thinks that he wants to do the things he likes, like drink and have fun with some girls. But he just needs to trust Kim for now, as his plans seem to be good. After seeing how all of the bullies Kim punished were so swiftly taken care of, he hoped to see Chang-suk in that position someday. He has to trust him, so he should get back to work already. That's when a large crash occurs, and he rushes outside to see what the commotion is about. There seems to have been a big accident, and a worker explains that a spilling accident might have occurred. Chang asks him to explain later, as he wants to know if there's anyone trapped there. He confirms that there are 5 or 6 at most. Chang's face darkens, and the worker assures him that they have already called the superiors, so this case won't be blown out of proportion. Chang grabs him and asks if that's really the most important thing right now, but he's extremely surprised. How much did Kim predict? He told him that the only thing he needs to keep in mind while working is that if there is an accident at the site, he must use his name and power as much as he can to pick up the pieces. He shouldn't think about the losses, but instead about what's best for the workers who got hurt. He tells the worker to call 911 and also ask for a rescue team. The worker says that they can't, as that will cause this accident to be exposed to the public and media, and then it will be their fault. It's not even about compensation, but if the construction is delayed like this, Who will cover the loss? Chang tells him to just call 911 and thinks that it's time for him to take responsibility. Does he think people's lives are just for play? They need to hurry and call the damn rescue team, as he will be the one who takes responsibility. Chang asks when they will get there, and a man says in a suit note that the rescue team left for this place as soon as they got the call. Chang asks if they shouldn't start helping without them, but the man notes that they explicitly told them not to touch anything. While they talk, a man looks at them intently. More debris keeps falling, and Chang suggests that they should prioritize the lives of those helpless people first and foremost. If they have enough time to speak like this, they should call 911 again, as being crazy like this works best when in a group. Eventually, the rescue force arrives, and the situation seems nothing short of a miracle, as most of them have minor injuries, and nobody's life will be threatened. Chang says that it's fortunate that it happened like this, but the man notes that there's still a problem. Some internet articles have already written about this incident, and quite negatively too. There's sure to be more articles soon, but since things have already gotten this messy, realistically, there's nothing they can do. Chang asks what can be done, leaving the man quite puzzled, as he thought he had a plan previously. Chang notes that he didn't, as he prioritized the lives of those people first. His father starts calling him, but he doesn't answer, as he needs to call someone much more important. The call stops, and he swiftly calls Kim. With that, he runs away in a spot where nobody can hear him talk. Later, in the Myungjin construction office, Chang-suk starts monopolizing on his brother's mistake. What has gotten into his mind to make such a mess and not report to his superiors first and foremost? He slams 2 articles on the table, both talking very negatively about Myungjin's construction abilities. Sure, the lives of the people are important, but what about the company? Does he even know how much they would have lost already if things were handled like this? What if nobody buys into that apartment? Is he going to take responsibility? But does he even have the power to? He might not know about this because of how dumb he is, but real workers like himself are the ones who have to clean up after him from now on. The father notes that he called the entire Daesan for this incident, as he didn't just dial 911 but also the police station, which made the reporters notice much faster. So now, with all of this on the table, how is he going to take responsibility? Kim previously told him that the president of the company has a certain kind of pride about construction compared to others, so much so that he is also a master of his craft. But if an absurd safety-related incident were to happen again, how would he react? He will definitely try and step in, so he should do what he wants. Chang found this advice quite frightening, but he trusted Kim. He says that he thinks they should break the apartment and start rebuilding it. His father notes that he knows he's just a high school graduate, but he should think about things more thoroughly. Can he even imagine that most of the construction fee comes from the bank? Additionally, each day, the interest rises. The cost they will pay now for rebuilding it, and 3 additional interests will send them into the ground. Does he really think that's needed for one building? Chang says that this is why he suggested rebuilding in the first place, because there is only one building. Just like he said, the losses will be huge, as he's not one for calculus and such, but he knows that much. However, the most important thing for them is trust. He knows already that there are countless incidents of poor construction, right? The reputation of most construction companies is on the ground. If, in this situation, they just fix the broken part and continue construction like normal, what does he think will happen? Chang-suk says that nobody is going to buy anyways because of a certain someone who announced the situation to the entire Daesan, so at least rebuilding just that part will lessen the loss. Chan notes that now they shouldn't be worried about the money, but should be worried about the fact that trust, the thing that kept them steady all of this time, is broken. This comment catches his father by surprise, and he continues. If they acknowledge that they are at fault while they are still building the first apartment, and show that they made it perfectly, it might certainly not be the right way, but they will surely regain their trust somewhat. And that would be the basis of Myungjin construction. Chang-suk asks if he's an idealist or just a plain idiot. The company comes first, and their profits? His father speaks and notes that his eldest son has finally grown up. This accident also happened in the other timeline, but it was very similar, as at the time, the president announced himself that his subordinates were hiding the incident, and he showed the people his philosophy when it comes to construction. He notes that the thing that makes him mad the most about this incident is that they made a mistake in the very basic process of pouring the concrete. That mistake shouldn't have ever occurred with the company's name at risk. Houses are places where people live, so safety is their first priority, and the other problems can be pushed aside. He notes that Chang did a great job, as he thought he was living life without much thought. But it seems he was wrong, as he's been acting more and more wisely. It is true that Myungjin Construction is a company, but is also a family business that prioritizes the worth of their construction. So if he keeps doing this, soon he will be able to follow in his footsteps. A few days later, one of the people injured in the incident seems to have suffered a great injury, as both of his legs had to be cut